that. There we go. You guys.
I might plan to spice it up a little.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the September meeting of the Greencastle Common Council. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would ask that, given that next week or over the weekend is the 20th anniversary of 9/11, that we kind of keep that in our thoughts and prayers over the weekend. Linda, can you call the roll?
Councilor Mark Hammer.
Here.
Councilor Adam Cohen.
Here.
Councilor Stacy Langdon.
Here.
Councilor Veronica Pedro.
Here.
Councilor Cody Eckert.
Here.
Councilor Dave Murray. Here. And Councilor Jacob Widener.
Here.
Again, welcome everyone. We don't have anything listed under public petitions or comments, but is there anybody in the audience that has something they would like to bring forward that's not already on the agenda? Okay. Hearing none, I'd like to call upon Maureen Wagner from the Putnam County Humane Society to give a little update to council.
You just pass these.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Maureen Wagner, and by completely unforeseen circumstances, I wound up as president of the Humane Society. That was not my plan, but that's what worked out. The paper that is being passed down just tells you a little bit about the Humane Society and some facts about it. We have a very unique situation where we have a partnership with Putnam County, and other shelters and humane societies throughout Indiana have said, how have you managed to get that? And it just sort of mysteriously happened about 10 years ago before I was involved with this. And it truly is a partnership. We consult with Sheriff Stockton on a regular basis, and he provides the two deputies that are out at the shelter and that go on the animal runs. And it shows you here that the shelter has $139,000 budget. We are, per partnership, the Humane Society provides $50,000 to the county for the Humane Society to operate out there on 240. The difference between the $50,000 and the $139,000 comes from people who donate to us. From various people have had fundraisers. We have not attempted a big fundraiser in a long time, partially because of COVID. And in the last year, this was prepared like in July, the two officers have received 644 calls for animal issues, whether it's abuse, abandonment, whatever. 405 of those came from Greencastle. And so 2/3 of the time they were coming to Greencastle to pick up animals. They do get to the far outreaches of the county. And what we're asking for is $1 per person from the city council, because we just felt like that was a fair amount. We've done the same thing with each one of the other towns in Putnam County. Some of them have declined, but, oh, that's you. I thought it was me. I was trying to turn it
Your time
off.
isn't up. You're okay.
Well, I haven't stood in front of a group of people for about 12 years to do any presentation.
Great.
People tell me I have to put my teacher voice on. But some of the things that we provide are spay-neuter programs, and we hand out, I know Veronica has been out there, I've seen her there. The first of every month, we give out minimally 30 spay-neuter vouchers, which are worth $100 toward the spaying or neutering of an animal, and then an additional $20 for the rabies shot that the animal has to have before the surgery. As of July, we had, and we're always a month behind on this, we've paid out $12,000 for that. But in a year's time, 30 times 12, and 1 month, when I got there at 9:30 in the morning, the line was already stretched into the middle of what would have been Marsh Grocery Store. And we gave out 40-some because I couldn't say no to people who'd been standing in line for an hour and a half. We also operate a food pantry out of Rescued Treasures, people who are having trouble buying food for their cats and dogs, and sometimes we get rabbit food donated. But all they have to do is come and fill out a paper, and we will give them what is enough food for about, I don't know, depends on the size of the dog, but for mine it would probably last a week or so, maybe 2 weeks. We also have a trap, neuter, and release program. When somebody calls us about feral cats, we have 3 people in the county who will catch them. We have a north, south, and Greencastle area person, and then we have a vet who lives here in Greencastle. I don't know her name because I don't do this program. And we take the cats to her. She takes them to her vet clinic up in Lafayette, brings them back that night, and they go back home. But they're not going to multiply. That's been taken care of. So those are the things that we do for the community. In addition, there is a nun who comes in, and she usually has very little money, but she needs to buy this, and this for some parishioner that has just gotten custody of children, and we make it all work for people who are truly in need. Other things that we have done to improve the shelter, the Humane Society, which we did not have to do. There's a portion of the shelter that's known as Cat City. And we have all kinds of cages in there. It was kind of leftover cages. This past year, we bought new cages that were not the wire ones. They're enclosed so that the litter is not in the actual cage, so the living area stays clean, and the cats can't get to each other and spread a disease that they might come in with. We do put them in quarantine when they first arrive, both dogs and cats, and we have a dog area that does the same procedure. But we bought new cages that were enclosed to the tune of about $10,000. We are in the process of helping Terry Eastham, who is one of the deputies who's the manager of the shelter. Someone donated a metal carport to him, and he wants to turn that into like an ER for the various animals that come in, so that if there was a dog that had brand new puppies, that they could be out there and it'd be a quiet area. If you've been to the shelter, it's not quiet. Somebody is always meowing or barking, and the same thing true with an animal maybe that had been hit by a car or that was just coming back from the vet for a treatment. We had a dog that had to have a leg amputated last year. The dog found a home, but that's something we're working on now. The pad is down, and we're working on the outside, and it will have air conditioning and heating and all the things that are in the rest of the shelter. This will just be a separate building to cut down on, again, transmission of diseases. One of the things that I think will help the city a little bit is that we are going to rework the front of the shelter, what you see from Highway 240. We met with a gentleman from Crawfordsville, I think, and this is at the request of the sheriff, because he takes, I've totally lost my word, the trustees from the jail out to the shelter to walk the dogs, to clean up the kennels, to mow the grass. The deputies currently have to get out of the van that they're transporting people in, unlock the gate, get back in the van, and it's not a safe procedure for the deputies. And so we're going to put a remotely operated gate on it, and there will be the estimate that we had included 4 remotes so that the employees out there can get in. We're going to extend the gate a little bit. It's still going to look like the white fence type thing, but it's going to be extended further so that nobody can drive around the fence. There's a great big tree that we're going to go to, and then there's woods on both sides, and then have this gate, and that's going to be the estimate that I saw was around $11,000 to do that. So we try to make things look better and have them function better, and we would like the city of Greencastle, as you have, Linda and I talked earlier, and it's been about the last 10 years that the city council has participated in this, and we would like for you to do that again, and I'm done.
Maureen, I got a quick question for you. So besides...
Would you like to join?
I was asking, besides getting arrested, what can you do to have volunteer opportunities to go out and help out at the shelter? What volunteer opportunities do you have? Who do you got to contact and to go out and do it?
Okay. We have a lot of people. We had to shut down like every other business did during the pandemic. And then most of the people who volunteer at Rescued Treasures, where most of the money comes from, are retired. And so we are open between 10 and 5, 3 days a week, and half a day on Saturday. We treasure having people who will volunteer to do that. You can come out, if you want to come out between, 10 and 11, that's the only time you have, and you want to do that, you will be welcomed with open arms and asked if you want a cup of coffee and a donut. We'll do that for you. Anytime there. We have a young woman out at the shelter who is the volunteer coordinator out there. And we have people who go out and walk the dogs because they need exercise, after. And there was a picture in the paper last week or the week before about Steve Baker and how they had donated fencing so that there weren't just 2 big play yards. They were subdivided. They're still, each one twice the size of my yard, but they can go out. There can be 4 or 5 people out with a dog, throwing a ball, throwing a frisbee, just somebody sitting there petting their head, and they all need that.
And I assume you'll always take dog food, cat food?
Yes, in
we
fact.
We can drop those off at Rescue Treasures?
Aaron put a message out this week that they need kitty litter in the worst way. We have a volunteer who goes over to Indy Humane, and I don't know where they get the free dog food from. I don't know if it's from, for a while we went to Chewy over on 39. Now he's going to Indy Humane, and we get, I can't pick them up, big bags of dog food, and we're allowed to sell those. We have other monies that come in, and that's designated strictly for our dog food pantry or cat food pantry. Out at the shelter, they pick their own dog food, and I think they try to keep them on the same kind of dog food all the time so that you don't get diarrhea in a shelter. That's awful. And so you can call out there and they can tell you what they're needing at the moment. We have had little kids like Cub Scout groups and first graders who were doing some kind of community service, and there were a whole bunch of little kids sitting in the hallway between the units, and it was a read a book to a dog program. And they sat there, they all brought their books in, and then they sat down by a dog, and everybody was reading their book to the dog, and with strict instructions to not stick your hand in the cage. So if you're interested in volunteering, there is somebody out at the shelter, usually from about 8 until 6, 5 days a week. Mondays and Tuesdays, there's nobody there late. But we have even, the Humane Society has even hired people to go out on Sunday when the trustees aren't there and the regular volunteers don't come, to walk the dogs and get them outside for a couple of hours and then bring them back in. But we have dogs that you have to be very careful with because you don't know what the temperament is. And some of them react better to males, some to females. Aaron and Lauren do fabulous jobs in determining the personalities of these dogs, but any kind of donation. There's one lady down from Cloverdale that brings toys. About once every 3 months, she brings just a whole gob of toys. There are some other people who make blankets for them.
Maureen, I have a question for you, and Linda as well. If we went through with a $1 per person contribution, Linda, for you, how does that look from the city side of things? And then to more, yep.
We budget $10,000 every year out of edit to be paid, so
Okay.
they have not received their payment, so she has given me her request for it, so we'll cut her a check.
So that's not unprecedented that we would do something. And
We've been giving them and the Humane System, them and Beyond Homeless, thank you.
okay,
Pretty much fixed amount for a while. I think we upped Beyond Homeless a few years ago. So it's in our budget yearly.
okay.
It's there. So
And then-
basically, we've got 10,000 people in the community, so they'll get a check from us.
The 10,000 is roughly the average of the old census number versus the new census.
Which is slightly lower than that, but
Yeah, we're not. I don't think we're going to cut you just because our
right.
we went
Our
down a little
census
bit.
is
If you'd like to do more, we
And Maureen, I was just going to ask you in terms of not having a recent fundraiser in the community. I mean, if you could just provide some insight into maybe why that was and what we can do to help, because, I mean, I'm involved with Habitat for Humanity, and we've been raising money through this whole pandemic, and we're trying to build the house out there on the corner
I
around
know where
Barn.
it is.
So it's like, you know, what can we do to support something like that, and what plans do you have to maybe host an event?
Well, we had plans to, the last 2 or 3 years, we have had what we've called a celebration of the shelter, and we've had hamburgers and hot dogs and all kinds of food, and we had, I heard you guys talking about the airport, have bounce houses, and, you know, you can, if you were old enough, you could take a dog on a walk and out to the play yards and stuff like that. But we were going to do one this fall, and the date we picked was the same date that they're doing the airport thing, and we knew that we looked at DePaul home football games, and we had all these schedules trying to find a weekend, Saturday or Sunday when we could do that. And last year, we couldn't do it because of the pandemic. This year, we've postponed it till springtime, and we're going to try and get on a springtime celebration. And we don't ask for any money on that. That's just a service to the community to come out and see what a nice shelter you have. Because you can get tours through the whole place. The dogs are all outside in their outside kennels, and the community has been very good to us.
Well, I will say that when I was with Ivy Tech, we took the students out there and worked on some service projects, and it really is a nice facility, so.
It really is. There are things that
Yep.
could be better, but they're not critical.
I would make a motion to remit $1 per citizen of Greencastle to the Humane Society.
We're just, it's already
This
in
is
the
a
budget.
discussion, or?
We'll just treat it as a regular claim.
Okay,
I'm just
okay.
justifying.
Well, we're on board, I think, so.
Next year we have budgeted $11,000 for you.
Okay, I think
There we go.
it's very good. I think it's very
Hopefully I won't
good.
be president next
Maureen,
Thank you, Maureen.
Maureen, I'd like to thank the shelter and Rescue Treasures for providing me a place where I can bring all the cat food that my picky cats won't eat. I also want to share an amazing feel-good story. My son texted me a couple weeks ago. There was a stray dog on our back porch.
Of course.
And the dog was friendly, but the dog was barking at my cats in the house, and the dog wasn't fixed and had no collar. It was 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. It's like, what are we going to do? It's like, Joe, can you get the dog in one of our little carriers? And he did, and he called the shelter. They had room, and Joe hauled him over. I posted the pictures that Joe sent me off onto the Putnam County Pet Finder Facebook group, and Aaron contacted us on that forum before the end of the day that the owner had been located. So we're very thankful that, because we can't take the dog into our home. We have kitty cats, and so thank you so much for being able to.
The people out at the shelter do a fantastic job.
Yeah.
I just want to take a picture of Cody out there reading to the dog. The mayor go out and read to the dog, and we'll post it.
We'll just do the ordinances that we always read.
Yeah.
Go do that out there.
We'll need a second reading for
Yeah,
Rover.
second reading.
There you
The shelter got bombarded 2 weeks ago, I think. There was a lady who, for some reason, was going to go stay in Hendricks County for a while, but she had a house in Putnam County, and inside were 9 dogs. And she was, supposedly someone was going over to feed and water and let them out, and nobody did. And so we wound up with all 9 dogs all at once. And of course, there's no medical history on any of them, and they really had their hands full when that happened. And Erin works, she's the late person, she's there from 3 till 6, Wednesday through Sunday. And I think Terry is the early person, and then I think Rodney goes and gets the inmates, and they have a schedule worked out, but I've never figured it out except for Erin. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and giving us an update.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have 2 special requests. The first one, a noise ordinance waiver for Old Union Barbecue. Jonathan, you want to step forward? Oh, he's not, oh, okay, sorry. Well, this is for October 23rd, so we can
Perhaps he'll be back.
have them come back in October, I guess, unless council is comfortable with considering it. It looks like they're planning an event at their location on Main Street on October 23rd from 3 p.m. till midnight. There will be no street closures for this request.
Since this is a first annual or not been done before or whatever, I think we just have them come back since we've got time.
We'll give them a call.
I
and come
agree.
back. Okay, next item is for the Berry Street Committee. Jennifer Grummy. Oh, okay, come on, sorry. Please come forward. Good to see Berry Street active again.
Yeah. Yeah, took a 1-year hiatus, right?
Yeah, Jennifer Garris is a friend and neighbor, Derek Chastain. There's just a lot of young new families in the neighborhood, and everyone that was hosting it is currently not there anymore. So we wanted to get that going again. Yeah, pretty much. I've got a lot of people excited about it. We were just looking to close off. So it would be Indiana to
So Indiana to College.
the college. It's just one
It's kind
block.
of right in the middle. We're planning on setting up a band on one of the front porches, and we just feel it would be safer to have an area right there in the middle where vendors could set up.
Porta potties.
People could spread out a little bit more, and have the portable potties, and as well as the band. That way, and if we can keep it open to the neighbors being able to go through, that'd be great. But just closed off to anybody going through.
Yeah, I was going to put out a word and say, hey, if you want to move your car or do something like that,
Yeah, we have
for
to
the
do that.
one
Now,
block.
also realize that's going to be a very, very busy weekend on DePauw's campus as well.
Is it? Oh, I didn't
Okay.
realize.
It's a home football game, and it's the inauguration of the new president, so there'll be a lot of visitors in for that weekend. So
Okay.
Is it okay?
you may want to recruit some volunteers to help with traffic direction.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's particularly like at College and Berry and things
Yeah.
like that, so.
That's a good idea. I can
Could we
definitely get signs.
could we set up some cones or something?
Our street department will provide the yellow sawhorses for
Okay, perfect, yeah.
for the section that you want to close off, but you still may want to
Get signs and
have
people.
some signs up and, maybe
By
some,
the neighbors.
let the
Yeah.
neighbors know, and then also maybe
kids we
contact
recruit.
DePauw Security too.
Okay.
Have you talked to Tom and John, our police and fire chiefs?
I'm not, no.
No.
Well, we ask you to do that. We'll,
Okay, let's talk about all the things. I've never done anything like this before. so
okay,
please
well.
help
Yeah,
me
yeah. This
out,
is the first time for
It's
both
probably,
of us.
in your case, probably not a big deal, but we ask that, you touch base with police and fire just to make sure that they don't
Okay.
have any concerns, and then obviously tell the neighbors and
Yeah,
let
I've
the
been,
neighbors
let
so
all
that
the
they
neighbors go in
know
the health department.
what's
and-
going on and
Yeah,
stuff like that, so.
cool.
What band is playing?
So we've got Black Market Vinyl,
Fantastic.
and we've got Gus Moon
Yeah.
coming out, and you guys know Carly and Josh Brown. They're going to be there. So we're doing Black Market Vinyl. They'll do their own set, probably 45-minute set is kind of the plan. They said they could do 2 sets, but I don't know if we'll have the time. But we're going to do that, and then we're going to have a 2-hour songwriter in the round.
Awesome.
So that'll be Anthony, and Josh, and Carly, and I'm just trying to recruit a few others. So at least 4 or 5
Awesome.
songwriters.
Is that a motion, Veronica?
Yes, I move that we approve the street closure request with the understanding that you'll be in touch with our police and fire chiefs.
Yes, I
You
absolutely
had her
will
at the
be.
music.
Absolutely will be. So, yeah, we're just looking between, I think we decided 10 and 6. So
So 10 and
if we
6,
could
so, yeah,
close
a
the
little
street between
earlier.
9 and 7, so give everyone an hour to set up and break down.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did have one question about liability. Again, never done this before. What do I do about that situation?
We'll have you call our city attorney. She's not here this evening. but,
Okay.
You're not serving alcohol?
You're not going to be serving any alcohol?
No.
No.
Generally, it's okay.
But
Okay.
we had a neighbor reach out to us, and so we've only had one neighbor do this.
That was angry.
But he was very angry about it. And
apparently
he
he was
said,
angry
you will be
about
liable for anything that gets damaged, any property that gets damaged, any car that gets damaged, any trash that's left
Someone
out.
trips and breaks their arm.
Somebody gets hurt,
Which
you
I
are
understand,
responsible.
but-
And along with a few other things, and I think he was just trying to scare us. But,
a few expletives.
Do what?
A few expletives.
He was,
Yeah,
he was
just a
like,
few.
anyone gets shot, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Is
that was another
recorded?
gun battery, and I was just like, dude, like, it's Berry Street. I
Well,
mean,
in order to keep the Fourth Ward hopping, I'll go ahead and second that motion.
Ask our city attorney your other question.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I can do that.
great, yeah. Was there anything else?
No, I'm excited. I hope that
pretty much
everyone's just as
solves our
excited.
problem, so
We have good weather. And
Thanks.
thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Okay, well, we have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Looks like you're approved.
Berry
Yay,
Street's
thank
back
you.
on. Thank you.
Thanks for all you do for your neighborhood.
Next item of business is our first public hearing on the 2022 budget. So Linda took care of all the notices on that, and I'll let her answer any questions on that. So the floor is now open for council to ask any questions, or our public.
So basically, we submitted all the notifications that need to be submitted out on Gateway and advertised it. It's been out there since the Friday after the council meeting, so it's been out there more than enough time. So basically, we have to hold a public hearing if there's anyone here that wants to complain about or question or make any changes to the current city budget that has been proposed.
Linda, do we ever hear how many clicks that we get on that when it's published?
No. Used to, we had to advertise in the paper, but now we don't have to. Saves money that way. A couple of good news about the budget is we did get our final insurance rate, and it's 3.3% increase
that's all.
versus the
Good.
10% that we originally proposed.
Good.
The
Good
budget
news.
still reflects the 10%, so it's just a little surplus
Mm-hmm.
in case we have to make any changes. And then our lit was in at like 1.781 or 1.7 million dollars. It will be $2,145,018.
Wow.
That is a little bit of an increase from the prior year. It's funny, DLGF apologized for it being lower than what it normally would have been, and we're like, no, we're very happy. Thank you.
So we were anticipating to go down all the way to 1.7. It's
Yeah,
still
I
going
mean,
to
that's what
be
they
a little
originally
over 2
started
million.
saying, but
Wow.
it's 2.1 million.
Yeah.
And that was even in excess to what it was the year before, so.
So more than it was in 2020.
So you're actually giving us happy budget news.
Yes.
Doesn't
We're
happen.
told to be thinking about a 20 to 30% decrease from the previous year.
And they will, they are not expecting any decreases in 2023. It should be back to normal.
That's based on this year's income tax.
We are, right now, our unemployment rate is 3.5%.
2.5?
3.5.
Okay, I was going to
So
say.
that's full employment.
Yeah, that is.
So anyways, that's the good news. So that really helped out the budget. You know, we can
I'd
talk
say.
about it further down the road once we get to that. But those are just a few highlights that are good news about the budget is those, you know, that almost added $400,000 to the income that we projected, so.
Along with the savings on health insurance.
Along with the
Additional.
huge savings of in health insurance. They came back and said it could be at 4%, and then after they do all the, looking at claims and all that, it came back at 3.3%. So that's hardly anything.
It's great.
So, given our small audience of the public, does the public have any comments? Okay, any further comments or questions from City Council?
I move to close the public hearing.
I will second Adam's motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. We have department reports that were included in the packet. Rod is not here tonight because he's working with one of his leagues this evening, but he did ask if I would at least mention for the benefit of our home audience, he's got several things coming up this month. On September 22nd, they have a Lego National Ice Cream Day workshop. And then on September 14th and 16th, they build a toolbox kind of woodworking workshop. And then coming up on October 2nd, a evening disc golf tournament out at Big Walnut, which kind of glow-in-the-dark discs. So if people are interested in those activities, they can go on to greencastleparks.com and register and learn more. So we do have several of our department heads here tonight. Some are away at a couple different appointments, but if anybody has any questions for the folks that are here, I'll be happy to answer them.
Oh, John.
Talking to the...
Hey, John Burgess, can we break you away for a second?
I warned you I was going to ask you this. I just wanted, oh, is he coming?
Yeah.
I just wondered if you just real quickly go over the stat we talked about medical runs for the year, just so all of council can hear it, because it's a little staggering.
See, I pulled up a report. This is from January 1st until the end of August. We've had a total in that time of 879 runs. Of those 879 runs, 454 of those were medical runs so far this year. If you add in motor vehicle accidents, extrication, stuff like that, it's a total of 500.
And how does that compare to a year ago? Do you know?
I would think last year, I think we had, I mean, don't quote me on these numbers, I'm thinking we had around 500 medicals last year total.
Total year.
Yeah.
So we're running 50%, even taking out the extractions and kind of the traditional fire department role, we're running 50% of our runs are medical runs. For 879, 440, I can't do the math as quick as Mark.
On the program that I'm using, which is a state program, it kind of lumps in, you know, like I said, if we add in extrications, motor vehicle accidents, it's a total of 56.88%. So.
Now, our medical runs, are they confined to the city and the township, or do we run the county for medical?
Very seldom. Occasionally, we might get called out of the city limits, out of the township, but that's very seldom that happens.
Okay.
So, and more likely, if that is the case, you know,
Probably
it's
an extraction or something. Okay. I just thought that was a staggering number. So,
I mean, a few other stats. Actual fire runs, of course, you know, this includes mutual aids, you know, small fires and stuff like that. 32 runs, which is like 3.64% of our call volume. Hazardous conditions, that's anything from us getting called out to gas spills, investigations, stuff like that. 44 runs on that in that group. Service calls, assisting elderly, police, other government agencies, that's 88 runs. Good intent calls, that's where, you know, somebody thinks they smell smoke, or they see steam and they think it's smoke. 111 runs for those, and false alarms, 101. So, which is still down quite a bit from normal, so.
John, one last question, because I serve on the 911 board. All of our radios are going to be compliant with the new standards coming out. Do you know?
We, all our radios are not compliant.
Okay.
We still have older radios. We are trying to, me and the mayor talked about that, we are trying to build that into the budget to replace those in upcoming years. It's my understanding, and maybe you know a bit more, I don't think that's going to take effect for a few years yet, so we have a little bit of time to build those radios back up again. So our handhelds we just replaced here. I can't remember, Tom, what was that, 4 years ago we replaced handheld radios, so.
Like 17, 18 maybe.
Yeah, so they're compliant, so we're good on those. It's mainly our mobile radios in the trucks that we're going to have to upgrade on, so.
So council knows there's I don't remember the date, John, so don't hold me to it. I think it's 2 years, but I could be wrong on the date. But the federal government's mandating a certain wavelength and radios, so everybody in the county will have to go over to this. And they're no longer issuing codes to the old radios in about a month. They're going to stop issuing codes.
Yeah,
So
it has a lot to do with, there's so much call for new departments and new channels and everything. They're trying to consolidate it, which requires new technology, which requires new radios. So, but once again, not sure when the state's going to mandate that for us. It's still going to be a few years out yet, so.
you're on it. That's all that matters.
We have $18,000 budgeted for radios.
Hey, do we want to ask Tom to come up and talk about all this radios safe with the bid?
That's in 2022, isn't it?
Yeah,
Next one.
right here, pagers and radios, $18,000 for 2022. Hopefully that can pay for a few.
Hopefully that will, so.
Maybe we just acknowledge it real quick, Tom, see if you want to go.
You know, the only thing that might change, like I said, our current pagers, which the guys carry for call-ins and stuff, whenever they do the upgrade, we'll probably have to replace those sometime in the future too, but they're, I think they're running right now, typical pager cost is around $300, I think, a pager, so they're not as bad as a handheld radio, but.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
All right, thanks.
Any other questions for any of our department heads or things?
I think Tom's back there, isn't he? Just wanted to real quickly just to acknowledge Captain Inman and what he did back on May 13th, and I know that he wrote a very good detail of what happened and everything else, and he was just very fortunate. His family was very fortunate that he was on site, so he was just happened to be in the area just after the.
Yes. So I believe the Banner Graphic printed an article on it too, but
pictures and
a couple weeks ago, he got to be reunited with the little baby that he did help save that day. Lucas, I believe, is his first name. So yeah, on May the 13th, he was on his way to a doctor's appointment and come upon a horrendous accident where the driver of one vehicle was deceased, and they determined that a small child was in the back seat of that vehicle. So himself and a Good Samaritan that we've not been able to identify were able to free the baby and get the baby out of the car seat and out of the vehicle. And I know the baby was injured, but through life-saving, medicine that we have in today's society, the baby has recovered. And he did, like I said, a couple Sundays ago, he got reunited with the father and that child, and they made a big to-do there in Henderson County for it. And we're looking into doing something here locally also for him.
Good.
Thanks.
I just wanted to acknowledge that publicly, and
absolutely
at this time with that being in our packet, and quite a very something very tragic that turned into a very good outcome, as good of an outcome as could have happened.
Absolutely. And if I can make this statement, I think it goes to show that having a take-home program, car take-home program, and being able to use the vehicle while you're off duty,
he probably
has its advantages. Because I know he used the fire extinguisher in his police car to help because the car was catching on fire, and other fire extinguishers were needed. But we carry some medical supplies and things in our vehicle, so it's definitely an advantage for us to be able to do that in situations, especially when you're off duty.
Sure also points out the importance of those child safety seats and being properly installed too.
Absolutely. Which we have 3 technicians on our department that can do that.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Mark.
Well, department heads are dismissed and can enjoy the rest of the evening with their family. Next, we have reports, and I'll keep mine brief. Today, we received news from the Lieutenant Governor's Office in Okra that the city will be receiving our $700,000 grant request that we made for improvements at the water system. So I would like to thank all the members that participated in that. Our staff and our consultants did a great job.
Bill, on that one, can you flesh out what that does?
Exactly.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that was the grant. The grant will help us provide a new generator at the water plant so that in the event of a power failure, we can operate the water plant in its entirety. In addition to that, the main project is the replacement of the water trunk main that's along Alvin Pond Road, the one that we have so much trouble with leaks from time to time. And then there'll be additional fire hydrants within the city limits that will be replaced to bring them up to standard. And then our other fire hydrant project outside of city limits is continuing to move forward as well. So we're going to be able to get a lot done next year with that grant. The other nice thing is by getting the grant, that tempers future rate increases for our customers as well.
Well, that's right. That was kind of what tied to the
was the plan.
tier, so
Yeah.
now we don't have to do that third rate increase. That's right. I forgot about that.
So we'll be providing match out of funds that we already have in the water department saved up. So essentially, we're basically about doubling our money here. So
it's a 50-50 match. Okay. Good. Great news.
So, this is just sort of a side note that I picked up today was the Indiana Economic Development Corporation has been giving grants, and I know Kristen's been working with some of our other industry around the county, and Liberty Industries got a $100,000 grant from the state to deploy some new technology in their facility, our neighbors to the east. Linda has taken care of the paperwork for our first payment on our American Rescue Plan Act funds, so that's money in the bank. We will be having a public hearing to close out the Okra Small Business Grants. That will be on September 20th at 1:30. The Indiana State Department of Health will be in Reelsville on Friday and Saturday for testing and vaccination. They'll be at the school, Old Reelsville Elementary School, from noon to 8. So we're getting a lot of great service from the State Department of Health out here. Again, I'd like to thank our staff for the continued look at, or continued work under the mantle of coronavirus. Everybody continues to do a good job. The Redevelopment Commission approved design work for Phase 1 of the Roban Park improvements, so we can get that work taken care of over the winter. We received bids today on sidewalks, so our engineer is reviewing the bid package that was submitted. We don't know what's going to happen with this, but at the same time as we applied to Okra for the water grant, we also applied to the Indiana Finance Authority under some new funding, but we also included some stormwater projects in that application. They continue to push back the award date, so I got an email this afternoon. They were originally going to make those awards tomorrow. That's been pushed back to Monday. They got in well over $1 billion worth of applications for that, and they only have like 60 million to give away, so I don't know what's going to happen, but you never know, so we'll see. We continue to work with IAC. Work One has continued to provide assistance to the employees out there as they seek out new opportunities. There's been a little bit of a slowdown in the layoff schedule as IAC works through their issues, but Work One has done some great work out there in terms of working with the employees and providing opportunities for additional training, as well as helping them prepare for new career opportunities. So, questions?
Mayor, I have a question, and it's a bit long-winded, so I apologize. So, and maybe this is unprecedented, and I'll get some pushback from it, but on March 19th, there was an article, and during our March meeting, you were quoted saying that it looks like we've got all the legal issues resolved for the community center.
Mm-hmm.
In April, Lori was quoted stating that the RDC is undertaking undertaking a project. We approved sending out, in the next couple of weeks, proposals for construction management services. Mid-May, we held a open house with regard to the community center. There was hardly any real public discussion or decisions made at that meeting. It was just kind of a forum, an open house. And we're sitting here almost 4 months later, and I've received no update from the RDC, no update from our city offices on what's going on.
We've talked about it here at the meetings, and I'll give you an update right now. The committee has selected the consultant construction manager. We're waiting on their attorney and Ice Miller to finish the details of the contract. So we hope to have that any time. We were hoping to have it on September 1st, but the attorneys did not finish their work. But the construction manager has been selected. Under state statute, we're not allowed to announce that until the contract is ready. Don't ask me about the legal side of that. That's the state statute arrangement. And the engineering and design work continues to move forward on it.
So who's responsible for, I mean, lawyers make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Who's responsible? Why are they not on time? I mean, what's the holdup here? It's been 30 years discussing this project, and I'm sitting here today thinking, is this really going to happen?
Well, I mean, we are the farthest along of anybody in the last 30 years. We have the site, we have an architect on board designing the building, we've got a construction manager selected, we've got all the utilities to the site complete. So, I mean, I appreciate that. I'd like to have it move faster too, but we're making progress.
Is it a priority of this?
It is a priority of this administration, but when you're dealing with a complex project, sometimes you have to wait on other people and keep moving things forward.
Well, I would just encourage whoever's working with the lawyers involved and whoever's working with this process to make it a priority, and I'll be the first to admit I have not attended a lot of the RDC meetings, but a lot of the reason why that is my morale is low for the project. I'm in favor of a community center. I would not like to speak for everybody else, but I think it'd be a great addition to the community. I'm losing morale as a city councilor, and I know that a lot of the people that I talk to on a daily basis ask me about the project, and I'm passionate about this, and I understand, you know, this is not a full-time job. I'm not in these offices every day. I don't review all the documents, but I really, really hope that that's still a priority, and it's got to be a major priority for, if we want to get this done, let's get it done. Please.
Yeah, first off, you know, if you really wanted to know, you could come in sometime during the week and say, hey, can we talk about it? But we are closer than we've ever been. 2 of us from council sat through lengthy meetings that we're not allowed to discuss much about, where well, 3 of us from council, sorry, Dave.
Yeah.
Lengthy meetings where we picked a contractor, or what do you call it? Construction management company. The plans are right there. We've never had that before. There's a road leading out to it. There's a site picked. You know, at this point, it's actually not under council's control much anymore. It's moved over to the redevelopment commission. But the lawyers are going to do what the lawyers are going to do. And, you know, we'll have that announcement, and we'll have a groundbreaking. And at this point, we're too far to come back.
We aren't going back. The other thing that's going on behind the scenes is the people at the Y are putting together their fundraising strategy for the endowment. So that's going on behind the scenes. They're doing some quiet fundraising before they become public on that side of it as well.
I was at the last RDC meeting. They're willing to call an immediate special session to approve the contract once it's there. But one of the complications in this, unlike a lot of city projects, is you've got the Y, the hospitals, and the city all involved, and that is not a straightforward contractual situation.
In fact, we can't find one that had that, basically. And I apologize. I should have remembered to include the hospital, because they are a big part of this.
Yes, they are.
Everybody continues to be supportive, continues to be enthusiastic. My patience gets frustrated sometimes, but when you're working on complex projects like this, we've made a lot of progress, and we've got money in the bank to pay for it. The Redevelopment Commission has carefully managed their funds, so, you know, it's going to break loose here shortly, I think.
You'd be welcome to talk to Lori, our city attorney, and get the names of the people that are doing the legal work and jack them up somehow.
Might have fire under them.
Good luck with that.
Share your frustration.
Well, and I know the why, they want to have it so it opens in like November, December timeframe so that they can capture that.
That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen more than likely, but they wanted to, you know, so they could get all the people that want to get their memberships in January, you know, with their New Year's resolutions. So unfortunately, you know, timing just doesn't sometimes work out.
I guess the question there would be is, you know, would the Y and the hospital, I mean, if we all came together and, I mean, I happen to believe that, you know, with legal stuff, it's very important to make sure it's right, but is there a way for us all to come together and ask, where is the product we've been waiting for? And I don't know if, you know, the Y has been, I mean.
Who's hired the construction manager?
I mean, everybody's working hard on it, I can assure you that.
The hospital and the Y have both worked with Ton and Blank, the construction management firm that we selected. What's that?
You can't say the name of the company.
No.
Well, there you go. I mean,
Whoever it was.
what?
Off the record.
That's a state law. That's not our law.
That's not our.
You know what?
That's something under state statute.
It's a state statute passed by, you know, supermajorities over there. We can't say it.
Yeah.
If I could, I would.
Yeah. And it's just the way that mechanism was set up for us to use.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we had very good. We had seven.
We had 7 firms that we had to work our way through.
So it was a good
And
process.
many of them very good firms.
Yep.
So, okay. But thanks for the question. Okay, Linda.
So, a couple things going on. Tentatively, we have a heavy trash day set for October the 23rd. We're still waiting on a little bit of approval to use the high school parking lot, but that's the tentative date. So there's going to be a heavy trash day. We'll send out letters like we always do.
They go out with the utility bill, or
Yeah, we usually send a separate letter.
separate one so that people will read it.
Right, if it comes out on Greencastle return address, it gets more response than
What was that date again, Linda?
October the 23rd.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Great.
We're going to partner with the
West Central Solid Waste.
Solid Waste District.
They're going to provide in the middle school parking lot where you will get rid of all your electronics there first, and then whatever trash you have can come over. And I think one thing we're going to do this year, if you just have 1 or 2 items, we're going to have an accelerated lane too, so so you don't have to wait in a long line. You just have
Quick checkout.
An express lane.
Yep.
Express lane.
3 items or
items
less.
with people with 3 items or less.
3 items or less. Because sometimes we get U-Hauls full. And stuff. And if anybody wants to volunteer their time out there, come out there in the morning, and it's kind of an interesting time.
I assume it's a Saturday.
Yeah, it's a very needed and appreciated time that we do it. So, the solid waste gal and I talk, and she says, I think we've seen some improvement of not seeing as many mattresses and things out on the county roads. So it's been a fit. The other thing is, I don't know if you noticed, but you should have gotten your pay stubs in your email, your actual stubs. So we're going to a lot of things electronic. So one of those, hopefully at the same time we send out the trash letter, we will be sending out the instruction to all of our water customers and sewage customers on how you can start paying your bill online.
Nice.
Where you'll be able to go to the website, set up your accounts, you'll be able to tell us you no longer want a paper bill mailed to you. It'll always be there after you set up your account. So you can pay online, you can pay with credit card, or you can pay with check. So that is in the works. It's just about done. And part of that was also the email where pay stubs and things like that go out with our employees.
Is there a convenience fee to pay by credit card?
Yes, there will still be the convenience fee that pay by credit card, just like here, but there won't be a fee if you put in your checking information.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you don't want your bills anymore, you can check that off because we won't have those, we won't have that mailing anymore. So, if you don't want your bills mailed to the house.
Now, for 27 years, I've been bringing my water bill in and paying it and getting my packet, so, you know.
So, but anyways, that is coming. We have a lot of customers probably ask us almost daily, when can we start paying online? It is happening. It's kind of been a slow process, but we're getting there. So that is coming. So that's the only thing I have is that.
Just speaking of trash, Lori is just about done with the bid packages for trash contracts, so that'll be going out shortly. And we've had some interest from a variety of firms that gotten wind of it. We get calls, so that's probably going to be on the Board of Works agenda next week. So,
Excellent.
we're looking at a couple different options for recycling based on what we're learning about the industry. So if I can remember the three that we're looking at, one is to continue the way we're doing it now, which basically makes us the recycling police, which is not a pleasant job. The second is to see if people can establish an individual contract so long as there's a certain minimum number of customers in the city. So if you want recycling, you would contract directly with the trash hauler. And then a kind of a more limited recycling based on what the vendor tells us the market is willing to buy, because right now there's not a lot of, there's certain products that are recyclable, but there's no market, glass being the obvious one, that they don't even want to handle anymore because it costs them money to get rid of. So I think those are the three we're looking at, and that's based on kind of talking to other communities. And there's a lot of communities that have just completely dropped recycling because of the cost. And I relate this story because Crawfordsville used to be part of our solid waste district, and then Montgomery pulled out to do their own. 10 years ago, Crawfordsville was a moneymaker for them, and they still have their own trash crew where they use city employees to pick up trash. A few years ago, it went to neutral, where their recycler up there would accept the recycled goods but not pay them for it. Now the town has to pay the recycler to deposit recycled goods at the recycling agency. So it's done a 180 over the last number of years, and all. So as much as many of us want to recycle, the markets are not working in our favor. So we'll kind of see what happens.
So we had the at the Roban Park recently, 2 vaccination testing, COVID testing and vaccination clinics. They were a huge success. They were much more attended than I thought they would be. And just, I mean, I think the numbers were out there somewhere. They had 1,140 people tested at the 2 different clinics and vaccinated 180. And I thought, man, if we could have got half that, I would have been happy. We got 180, and I just noticed in the report here that Rod put out, there was also another 130 at the same time that got vaccinated during that first, 3 days or something like that, at the hospital. So that's 210 people over 2 weekends, 2 long weekends. So I think that was very, very well attended, and a great location, and so I just wanted to bring those numbers out just in case people weren't aware of those. So.
It was truly a team effort. A certain council member bought ice cream for the crew. Our fire department provided all the ice they needed when it was really hot, because we've got an ice maker at the fire station. Others provided refreshments and cold drinks. The Parks Department did a good job of hosting them, and Police Department helped with some traffic control from time to time. The county CERT team, honor scholars, we had some DePauw students, we had other community volunteers help with traffic control and things like that. So it was truly a good community effort.
Yeah, and like Bill said, they're getting ready to do the same thing down at Reelsville this weekend. So hopefully they'll have similar numbers. And so, yeah, the number, I happen to always just kind of keep an eye on how we compare to Montgomery County, and we are always lagging behind them in number of tests. We are now 400 ahead of them. And I think this is probably why. Our other numbers are better. They're higher than we are. But it's just that they're neighboring, and where numbers are just so close. But we have less cases and less deaths, a lot less deaths.
A lot less.
Yeah.
With the airport days this weekend, can we fly people to Reelsville?
Yeah.
One-way
shuttle service. So.
Dear God. Yeah, the clinics were a great success. The sergeant in charge told me he thought it was one of the most successful clinics they've had, so that was good. I'll start with something light, then I got two other quick things. Sports are back up at DePaul, and we are open for business. Our stands are open for business. You are more than welcome to come for free and enjoy some outdoor sports. And an indoor sport in our volleyball program. We do mask inside. But other than that, you are welcome to come over and enjoy a little bit of a reprieve from what we've gone through the last year. I serve on the 911 board. I just want to give those people a lot of credit. I think Veronica served before me. I understand about half of what they say sometimes. But when you go down into that center and you see the redundancy that they have built in a small community, where they, even during COVID, had they gone down, they could have done it from their homes. It's truly amazing. One thing I did learn that I think is going to be really cool, there's going to be a new number coming out. I'm not going to give the full number out so people don't dial it yet, but there's going to be a mental health number coming. The 911 system gets overloaded with mental health requests and suicide calls. Instead of people having to know different numbers, there's going to be one number you can call, like 911 across the country, that will inevitably, it's about 2 years out, will inevitably connect you to trained counselors. They're really excited about it because they say that's the worst call that they get, is the mental health calls. And while we talked about water, I want to bring up something Jake brought up earlier because I thought it was a good idea, that you had brought up the idea that maybe instead of these bigger raises, we start looking at smaller raises over time. And, that now would be the time to go back and maybe revisit that, especially since it sounds like we're going to get a little reprieve from the last one. But instead of these big raises, do we want to consider, or ask the Board of Works to consider, a small incremental increase each year? I think there are pros and cons to both.
And you're talking about utilities,
Talking about water?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think there are pros and cons to doing it both ways. I'm not sure I'm smart enough to know which is which, but I've been brought up before, and I don't want it just to get forgotten, and then 3 years from now, we bring it up again when we're doing a big raise. And I think we all just going to have to brace ourselves on trash, because it isn't going to be what it was.
No.
There was a big feature on national news about Muncie. Somebody traced the trash from Muncie, the recycles from Muncie, and it wasn't good. So that's what I got.
Well, and I think then in regards to the rates, utility rates, we have another increase coming up very
Supposed
soon.
to have one at the beginning of the year.
That's what I thought.
And depending on whether we got the grant or not was how big it was. So
Right.
I will.
But I don't want to put words in Jake's mouth, but I thought you had brought up, didn't you? The idea of looking
We
at,
have a plan for 3 years based on what we were,
That's
whether
right.
we're getting the grant or not getting the grant, of what the water rates will go up. So I can have that information.
I just didn't want it lost in the shuffle of time.
No, I need to go back and review those here and see how we're doing with our new rate increases to see how we're coming along.
Okay.
But I think we're in pretty good shape.
And we should also congratulate Bill on being a new grandfather as of this morning.
Oh, wow. Great. And you're here this evening.
You done? Okay. I would like to encourage everybody here and the folks at home to head out to the airport this weekend. We're going to have beautiful weather. It's Airport Appreciation Days on Saturday and Sunday, And Greenlight Art Festival is joining the party on Saturday. So we are going to have not only kids who can get airport rides, but we're going to have the Lions Club. We're going to have WREB out there in the morning. We're going to have climbing walls, inflatables. Figgy's going to be there with music. It's definitely the place to be. As far as the art festival piece of it, we've got about 35 artists from 4 different counties coming in to sell everything from photography to candles to honey to who knows what. So please come out. Good weather. The art festival will be there on Saturday. Airport Days will be there Saturday 9 to 4, and then Airport Days will also be Sunday 11 to 4. Should be a great free community event. So hopefully everybody will come.
Councilor Widener and myself had the pleasure of representing the city last week at the Ivy Tech Chancellor's Dinner. At that dinner, we had an opportunity to get to know a number of students who are currently making fantastic progress because of the opportunities that Ivy Tech provides them. In particular, we met a woman from Greencastle named Katie, who, because of the laptop scholarship program through Greencastle's Ivy Tech location, she was able to persevere in her academic career toward eventually receiving her RN after graduating from Ivy Tech here in Greencastle. We also talked at length with a gentleman named Sean from Terre Haute, who has made an enormous amount of progress in his own personal growth, is studying addiction and counseling studies, and has had a story of recovery to share with us that was very touching. He is on track to attending ISU next semester in advance of receiving a degree in social work so that he can become an addictions counselor. So that was really exciting to talk with him as well. And that's it.
That was a fantastic opportunity. That was really good that you met those students. I don't have anything specifically to report from the 4th Ward. I'll go ahead and piggyback off of Linda about October 23rd being the heavy trash day. That happens to be my parents' anniversary, so I think I'll probably bring them down to Greencastle and show them a good time. It might, I think it's 46 or 47 or one of those odd numbers that are high up there, so that might even be the gemstone, you know?
Yeah. Trash is the gemstone.
Heavy trash.
Heavy trash is great.
Have them volunteer, too. Yeah. Work the site.
Volunteer you.
Yes.
I made copies. I was at the last RDC meeting, and redevelopment commission with civil engineering put together a schedule all over the city, the Columbus Street parking lot, Vandergraft reconstruction, Indianapolis Road sidewalks. Unless the mayor has something he wants to comment on, I just thought this would be really helpful for all of us to have to see if it stays on track and what's going on in the city.
It is.
Engineering projects.
Thank you.
Yep, nothing specific. A lot of the comments were covered, but again, it's great to see students back at Ivy Tech and see that parking lot filled, and definitely enjoyed the opportunity to attend the Chancellor's Dinner. And I know Sean in particular is maybe looking to come and give a presentation on mental health and addiction studies at some point, maybe to the council here, and touch base with us on some of his ideas. So it was really a positive thing to interact with those students. And you know, they've had some staffing changes over at Ivy Tech, but I think things are really on the rise over there, and would encourage anybody that's interested in pursuing a certificate or degree to look at joining them in the, what would it be now, the spring semester, right? So
I'd like to thank Veronica and Jake for covering and representing the city at Ivy Tech. I wasn't able to attend, but Also, Jake had a very nice, prior to his departure from Ivy Tech, got to attend his graduation from his ASAP cohort and had a very nice ceremony at the shelter out there at Ivy Tech earlier this summer, and kids did a very nice job. You guys had a nice cohort, and looks like they're going to be quite successful as they move forward with their academic endeavors. So.
This part of the conversation reminds me, and this is just to talk to the public for 30 seconds, but Ivy Tech has gone from traditional 16-week semesters to 8-week courses. So in less than 2 months, you can actually complete a course, and it's just accelerating retention and graduation. And, you know, so if there are people out there toying with that idea, I think that's helpful.
Yeah.
And then we've got a new chancellor. I've got a meeting coming up to actually meet her, or no chancellor, but new campus director. So that was in the banner. And so if council would like us to invite her to a future city council meeting, be happy to do that at some point. So next item on the agenda is approval of minutes from the regular session of August 12th. I will entertain a motion to approve those.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes as presented from August 12th.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Hearing none. Next item of business is approval of city claims, and I know Dave was in reviewing those.
We had payroll last month of $508,993.14 and pensions of $18,508.98. The accounts payable, pull my notes here, totaled $92,842.30. The noticeable expenditures was a payment of $9,469.90, annual renewal on tasers for the police department. We made a $10,000 contribution to Beyond Homeless. Boyle Construction, final payment on the aquatic center work that they did, $11,174.64. We had $303.99 for paint for our streets.
That's plenty of gallons of yellow paint.
And a little bit of white.
And I think those are the most noteworthy ones. Where we spent the big money was in direct payables. Civil engineering had 7 different invoices totaling $233,081.91. Foyt's Construction, $147,566.41. And that was for work on Wood and Tennessee streets. Let's see, we also had another one for Foyt's of $188,700.73, again, Tennessee and Wood streets. We paid Bonavita Architecture towards the YMCA $59,758.20, and we renewed our annual workers' compensation policy for $69,872, and the final big expenditure is for annual insurance policies in various departments within the city, totaling $192,490, for a grand total of $840,508.71. With that, I'll make a motion that we approve the claims.
Wow. 90-some thousand in regular accounts payable and then 880,000 in direct.
You got it.
I will second Dave's motion.
A motion and a second to approve the claims as presented. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay.
She'll abstain next month.
Okay.
You didn't turn it in, so that.
He's there's any abstentions, we all look at.
I know.
Next item of business is old business. We have two items of old business that were tabled last month. First was Resolution 2021-15 for IAC. Kristen Clary is out of town today, so don't have any new information on that. And then the second one was Resolution 2021-10 on the policy for electronic means of communication. So I don't know that we have any new information on that either. So
We were waiting on some questions we had from Lori in regards to that, weren't we? So
She told me today she didn't have any updates
we
on
can
that.
leave
it
those
was on
on
the table.
the table for now.
Do we have to make a motion to keep them on the, no, okay, we'll just sit there.
Wanted to take them off.
Okay. Then the next item of business is new business. The first item of new business is ordinance 2020-12. It's the first reading. An ordinance establishing the size of the departments of the city government of the city of Greencastle, Indiana, fixing salaries for employees of such departments, and fixing the salaries of certain other appointed officials for the year 2022. I'll be happy to read all this if it's the desire of the council, or if the council would like to waive the reading.
I'll make a motion to abbreviate or waive the reading,
I'll second that motion.
with the reminder that it is public, anybody can get it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to waive the reading, and I'll just give a summary of,
Thank you.
the ordinance covers
vote
all
on that?
of the,
Should we vote on that?
Vote on the waiver.
okay. We have a motion and a second to waive the reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Now, I might note that under new business, all the ordinances are 2020 instead of 2021, so,
Oh, I'm sorry, boy.
but at least I think the ordinances are okay.
Yeah, the ordinance is okay,
They
yeah.
are, I will correct that.
I just happened, I just saw it.
I missed.
Yeah, and I just, that's, yeah.
Oh.
And we've all looked at it up and taken time.
For
Let me
the,
give a summary.
yeah, go ahead.
That's right.
So basically, like every year, it tells us our first payroll is, in 2022, will be January 7th, 2022. It is 26 biweeklies, we're not 27. We still have our same longevities, basically 1 through 4%. We do comment on HSA for everybody that takes insurance. There'll be a $736 HSA paid out twice a year to the employee. We did add a city bonus in for 2022. Right now, it can be up to $1,000 to all full-time employees as a bonus. The ability to pay will be determined by the Greencastle Common Council and the mayor. If the bonus is granted, it will be paid when the mayor authorizes it. We've kind of been talking about maybe in January. Any new hired full-time employee must have worked for the city at least 90 days, and the bonus will be prorated by months worked. Part-time employees' bonuses will be 25% of the amount of the full-time bonus, and any new hired part-time must have worked for the city at least 90 days, and the bonus will also be prorated. Our salaried employees received a 1.9% raise, and our hourly employees received a 1.8% raise. Those were based on recommendations from our consultant that did the salary study for us last year. We had some extra, we've been really pretty frugal this year, and also our insurance is much lower than what we thought it was going to be, so we felt that we had some extra money that we could do bonuses rather than trying to give people raises to kind of keep along with their consultant, but giving people a little extra since we had a little extra, and that's how the bonuses came into play. But that's kind of where we're at with the salary ordinance, so.
I'm glad to see the part-timers are in there, because I don't think they were in it this year.
They weren't, we gave raises in 2020, but we did provide the part-time folks with some gift cards and something the last time, and that was totally the other one. But our part-timers did receive something, but we kind of bumped it up a little bit.
Linda, for those folks that take insurance,
Yes.
we're going to have a 3% increase. Will our employees have to pay more, or will we absorb the 3%? Do we?
Their portion of their part, their 15% will receive 3%.
Got it. Okay, so it's all staying in line.
Right, we'll
Okay.
pay a big chunk of it, but.
I'd like to introduce an idea. I'm not making this a motion, because I don't know yet if it's within the realms of state law, but I firmly believe in vaccinations, and I believe when you look at the statistics, they keep people out of the hospital, they keep our employees in work, and I'd like to consider next month, once we check the legalities of it all, of diverting the bonus money to an incentive program to our employees that would be vaccinated by a set date in the future. Other cities have created other types of incentives, and the stats are pretty clear in terms of avoiding hospitalizations. It also has a huge impact economically, because if you are vaccinated and you are exposed, you do not quarantine. You're asked to mask up, but you can go to work.
And get tested.
And get tested. But if you are not vaccinated, then you don't go to work. And that can create real hardship. So I'll stop there and see if anybody else has any thoughts.
Well, I had seen that Lori had emailed the listserv of all the cities
Yeah, she
and
had.
towns, and so I'll be interested in hearing what she has to say and her findings on that.
I'm generally warm to this notion as well.
The devil's in the details, but I
Yeah.
like the concept.
There you go.
And there's so much misinformation out there right now. We've got city employees that can't come to work because of it. It's not fair to the public. It's not fair to people in City Hall, and
It's not fair to the fellow employees if they get
Right.
called in.
Yeah.
Of course, it also costs us money if they're working OT.
Our bench is not deep when it comes to
No.
our city employees, to use a coaching term.
Delta Airlines announced a couple of weeks ago that they are differentiating their health insurance premiums to employees, that if you're not vaccinated, you pay a higher health insurance premium. I'm assuming they base it on kind of the smoker's model, that, you know, some insurance policies, if you smoke, you have to pay a higher premium because you're higher risk.
One of our DePauw's sister colleges is doing that, but I don't know if it's public, so I'm not going to name them. But
Delta is self-insured.
Yeah.
And so they're tacking on another $200 a month if you're unvaccinated, because we know we're going to have to pay more for health care, because you are
A burden.
going to be a burden.
and some of this
We're
might.
self-insured too, to some extent, within the trust. So the more those, goes up, the higher, we'll pay next year on our health insurance.
Do we have any idea how many of our folks are vaccinated? Have we collected any information? Have we asked for any volunteer information?
Well, right now, if you get vaccinated, you did get our health insurance paid $50.
Good, okay. So we should be able to track it if they're on our health insurance.
Information, we were not at 50%. So we've opened it back up, and we know that we've increased it by 3 since we opened it up about a month ago, and said, because we did a hard stop date on July the 1st. We let it go a month. We were disappointed that we only had right at 50%.
Yeah.
We opened it up again when the Delta thing started, and we've had 3 employees that have gone out to get vaccinated.
And we've also, done regular emails encouraging employees to get vaccinated, sharing vaccination clinic information with them, things like that.
Allowing them to go get the vaccination without taking time off work, short of having them come in and do it at work, I mean, we've tried everything to try to encourage folks to get it.
And we've also taken away, now if you get sick, you have to use your sick time and vacation time and sick bank if you're part of sick bank. So, we've taken away the extra stuff that council had approved earlier. So, and, if you're laid up for 14 days, that chews through a lot of sick time and stuff.
You fill out FMLA paperwork, I mean, everything.
Chews through a lot of overtime as we try to cover that shift, too.
Yeah. Especially the ones that are 24-hour shifts.
Yeah. And some of this might become moot because of the president's announcements today, and I did think Veronica could take a quick look, but it's not clear what he considers a 100-person threshold for the new laws. So we'll have to wait for like you said.
It's an OSHA thing, and it's,
yeah, we'll wait for the details on that. That might make all this become moot because we might have to do it.
I will entertain a motion to adopt on first reading ordinance 2021-12.
I'll move for adoption of ordinance 2021-12 on first reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt on first reading. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions?
This come back next month?
Yep, that'll come back next month.
Okay.
Next item of new business is ordinance number 2021-13, an ordinance fixing the salaries of the elected officers of the city of Greencastle for the year 2022. Be it ordained by the Common Council of the city of Greencastle, Indiana, that the following total sum of all money shall be payable beginning January 1, 2022 through December 31, 2022. Section 1, that the salaries of elected officials of the city of Greencastle shall be as follows: Mayor, $71,738.00. Clerk Treasurer, $68,413.00. Common Council, $7,924.00, times 7 for a total of $55,468.00. Section 2, that the general fund shall pay the mayor of the city of Greencastle for services rendered by the mayor on behalf of the general fund during the year 2022, the sum of $23,912.66. The mayor will receive the same amount of bonus as the other full-time employees and will be split 1/3 and paid on behalf of the general fund. That the general fund shall pay the clerk treasurer of the city of Greencastle for services rendered by the clerk treasurer on behalf of the general fund during the year 2022, the sum of $22,804.34. The clerk treasurer will receive the same amount of bonus as other full-time employees and will be split 1/3 and paid on behalf of the general fund. That the general fund shall pay each member of the Common Council of the city of Greencastle for services rendered by the Common Council on behalf of the general fund during the year 2022, the sum of $5,943.00. Section 3, that the Department of Waterworks shall pay the mayor of the city of Greencastle for services rendered by the mayor on behalf of the Department of Waterworks during the year 2022, the sum of $23,912.67. The mayor will receive the same amount of bonus as the other full-time employees and will be split 1/3 and paid on behalf of the Waterworks. That the Department of Waterworks shall pay to the clerk treasurer of the city of Greencastle for services rendered by the clerk treasurer on behalf of the Department of Waterworks during the year 2022, the sum of $22,804.33. The clerk treasurer will receive the same amount of bonus as the other full-time employees and will be split 1/3 and paid on behalf of Waterworks. That the Department of Waterworks shall pay to each member of the Common Council of the city of Greencastle for services rendered by the Common Council on behalf of the Department of Waterworks during the year 2022, the sum of $990.50. Section 4, that the Department of Sewage shall pay to the mayor of the city of Greencastle for services rendered by the mayor on behalf of the Department of Sewage during the year 2022, the sum of $23,912.67. The mayor will receive the same amount of bonus as other full-time employees and will be split 1/3 and paid on behalf of the Department of Sewage. That the Department of Sewage shall pay to the clerk treasurer of the city of Greencastle for services rendered by the clerk treasurer on behalf of the Department of Sewage during the year 2022, the sum of $22,804.33. The clerk treasurer will receive the same amount of bonus as the other full-time employees and will be split 1/3 and paid on behalf of the Department of Sewage. that the Department of Sewage shall pay to each member of the Common Council of the City of Greencastle for services rendered by the Common Council on behalf of the Department of Sewage during the year 2022, the sum of $990.50. Ordinance has proper signature lines and date lines. So for the benefit of the public at home, the totals in Section 1 is the total payment to each individual office holder. It is not a sum of all of the sections.
Yes, sections 2, 3, and 4 add up to section 1 total.
That is correct.
And why have all of those salaries been split those ways?
Yep.
Why?
Why?
Well, because, Bill and I do oversee, a lot with the water and the wastewater and we do all the accounting and financial stuff for those. And then he oversees those.
And they have their own funds.
And they have their own funds. And it does relieve the general fund quite a bit. And then, you guys spent a lot of time, like last year, especially working on water rates and sewage rates. So you do have some input. So we just, break that down, and that's what. And if we, that's the way we do it. And then, like, some of my staff also splits their time because they work heavily with the utilities also.
I move that we approve ordinance 2021-13, an ordinance fixing the salaries of the elected officers of the City of Greencastle for the year 2022 on first reading.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2021-13 on first reading. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Will that come back next month too, or is that?
That'll be back next month.
All right.
Next is ordinance number 2021-14, first reading, an ordinance for appropriations and tax rates for 2022. Be it ordained by the Greencastle Common Council that the expenses of the City of Greencastle City Civil City for the year ending December 31, 2022, the sums herein specified are hereby appropriated and ordered set apart out of the several funds herein named and for the purposes herein specified, subject to the laws governing the same. Such sums herein appropriated shall be held to include all expenditures authorized to be made during the year unless otherwise expressly stipulated and provided for by law. In addition, for the purposes of raising revenue to meet the necessary expenses of the Greencastle Civil City, the property tax levies and property tax rates as herein specified are included herein. Budget Form 4B for all funds must be completed and submitted in the manner prescribed by the Department of Local Government Finance. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and approval by the Greencastle Common Council. The ultimate date of adoption will be October 14th, 2021. The budgeted amounts are as follows. A rainy day, $100,000, no tax levy, no tax rate. General fund, adopted budget, $5,620,000. Adopted levy, $2,360,490. Adopted tax rate, 1.0704. Bond number 3, adopted budget, $104,650. Adopted tax levy, $106,836. Tax rate, 0.0484. Fire pension, $132,221. No levy, no rate. Police pension, $143,802. No levy, no rate. Local road and street, $112,000. No levy, no rate. Motor vehicle highway, adopted budget, $1,606,713. Adopted tax levy, $782,530. Adopted tax rate, 0.3548. Park and recreation, adopted budget, $726,551. Adopted levy, $403,858. Adopted rate, 0.1831. Park non-reverting capital, zero budget, zero levy, zero rate. Cemetery, $311,849 for budget. Adopted levy, $176,883. Adopted rate, 0.0802. Cumulative capital improvement, commonly known as a cigarette tax. Adopted budget, $100,000. Levy, 0. Rate, 0. Cumulative capital development, adopted budget, $380,000. Adopted tax levy, $123,571. Adopted rate, 0.0432. Economic development income tax, or CEDIT, adopted budget, $878,000. Adopted levy, 0. Adopted tax rate, 0. Tax increment replacement, $15 million. Adopted levy, 0. Adopted tax rate, 0. Total adopted budget, $24,596,406. Or $406. Adopted tax levy, $3,954,168. Adopted tax rate, 1.7801. Home ruled funds, these are not reviewed by DLGF, but are put in here as well. Cemetery ground improvement, adopted budget, $50,500. Cemetery trustee, $5,000. Cemetery old mausoleum, $2,500. Non-reverting softball, $21,115,000. American Rescue Act, Coronavirus Local Recovery Fund, $1,250,000. Non-reverting City Hall, $50,000. Park non-reverting basketball, $14,983,000 or $983. Public safety Deloitte, $967,775, for a total of home ruled funds of $2,361,873. And the document includes appropriate signature lines. And Linda, if you have any comments?
Public safety Lloyd seems high to me at $967,775. Is that the very last number you gave us?
Yep, no, that's correct.
How much is it this year? Do you remember how much it is this year?
What's that, how much we're receiving into that? Yeah, we're going to receive $871,297.
It's almost $100,000
So
more.
everything that the police and fire spend, except for salaries, comes out of public safety. So it is a big dollar amount because it's all their car payments, the radios that we talked about earlier,
We got
equipment,
some vehicle
ammunition.
purchases next
We're
year.
not totally in control of whether we get that money or not. though, are we?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, DLGF kind of promised Bill and I that we should at least see $500,000 every year from that. So, I mean, we have no other choice, but.
But the county could renegotiate it out, right?
Well, they can, but we'll still should receive a chunk.
Yeah,
I
At
think
least
it's-
$500,000.
I think it's important when we talk to the county commissioners to make sure they understand how important that is to us, but also when you look at the medical runs we're providing, when you look at the mutual aid our fire department's providing, we are getting some of that back into the county as well. So I think
It's not a one-way street.
it's not a one-way street.
We have those conversations on a regular basis.
I know you do.
So,
And,
we're pretty safe with that.
I would like to put forward a motion to approve on first reading ordinance 2021-14, an ordinance for appropriations and tax rates.
I will second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve on first reading ordinance 2021-14. Any other questions or comments?
Just the one I usually have is how's the $1.78 stack up with what we're actually paying this year?
Oh, these numbers are not good numbers.
Okay.
Because right now, the tax rate's based on 85% of less of the assessed value. And the assessed value's gone up higher.
Okay.
So these are kind of,
I think what our AV goes
Fictitious.
up 30 to 40 million.
yeah.
Okay.
So these are kind of not correct rates.
Okay. All right.
And the other thing that'll affect our rate to some degree, our total rate, is how much the AV went up in the county too. So that'll have
Right,
an
and-
impact on it.
And obviously, the total tax rate is affected by the library, the school, the county, all the different entities that we, the airport.
And the increase in assessed value, too.
But the actual tax levy there, we will get those dollars, or pretty close to it.
Okay, the middle column.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then
It'll just be,
minus
the
property
tax rate will
tax.
change based on
Assessed value.
assessed value as it gets adjusted. Okay.
But we have to do, we kind of have to play funny tax rate dollars here because of their rule that, we can't have
We can't
something
raise
less
it, we can
than
only lower it,
and
yeah.
all that, so.
Okay.
Any other questions for Linda? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay. I asked Linda to leave the edit plan on. We passed out sort of some draft information last month. If anybody has any suggestions or changes, let us know, and then we'll put that in the legal form and bring that back next month. And that will actually start in 2022. And we have to have a plan on file with the county in order for them to distribute that money to us at the start of the year. So, if you have any comments from that, or if you need another copy, just give us a holler, we'll get that back out to you. So, other than that, Linda, do we need to ask council for, how do we want to talk about the additional for the American Relief Act, or how's that, you might maybe go over that process?
Okay, so, we've received our 1 point some millions of dollars. I have that physically in the bank. Now, if we are going to spend any of that here in 2021, we have to go through the whole additional appropriation phase. So if you want to spend money this year, we got to decide what you're going to spend it on, and then we'll have to, advertise it, public hearings, and a reading or two. But we're probably not going to be able to get to it, start spending it until December at this point. So it is a process, but as you can see, I've got $1.2 million budgeted for next year that you could start spending it in January. So, but if you're wanting to spend any this year, we'll have to go through that process of additional appropriations. If we're not going to spend it this year, then we'll just wait and start spending it in 2022.
Seems reasonable.
I'd like to, our small not-for-profit group
Non-for-profits we want to spend. We want to,
get together, maybe talk about that and see what your thoughts are, so.
So we probably have a lot of non-for-profits that are struggling in 2021 because they could not do their fundraising. So I think we need to at least look at that piece of it and see if we can get some funds to them, because we're sitting on it.
Well, we're not going to be able to do anything, probably write them any checks until December.
Yeah.
So, what makes a difference if we write them a check beginning of January?
Yeah, I don't know. Who else volunteered to be on the committee? Any thoughts?
Everybody.
Was it everybody?
Yeah, but who
Okay.
ended up doing it?
Yeah.
So it's you,
Stacy was the
Veronica.
first
I was the first one, yeah.
But I think you're going to have to develop some criteria.
Yeah,
too.
Right.
So,
we've got some stuff started.
yeah, so, if you want to spend money this year, you got to have an amount, and we got to start
Yeah.
running the advertisements. So you got one reading next week, a public hearing, and then November you'd have one, so you wouldn't be able to do anything until December.
Next month, you mean?
Yeah.
Not next week.
So if you wait very much longer, you're going to be into January anyway.
Right, so it does,
We can get our committee together and kind of chat a little bit about it and see.
but
Well,
there
and
is a process.
If it does
it's
roll
not-
into January, then, rolls into
It could be,
January.
we could still do the application process, make a commitment and just say, hey,
Funds will come in.
the check is coming.
January
2022.
January, whatever.
But it is a process, there are, and they definitely said you have to go through the appropriation, because nobody has anything budgeted right now.
Right.
This draft document here, application deadline and so forth, it says the city council has allocated $200,000 to support small not-for-profit organizations that have generally not received other support and assistance. That's 200,000 of 1.2, is it? 1.2?
Yeah, we got half of our $2.31 million.
Where's the rest of it going to go?
Well, that's the plan you passed a couple months ago.
You do.
Okay.
Now, we're probably going to have to amend that plan, because it turns out we're actually getting a little bit more money than we were originally told. So we were originally told about 2.14, and we're actually getting 2.3 or so. So we've got some wiggle room. The other thing that we learned through the budget process is we don't have any, as part of the plan, we included funding for a potential shortfall next year. We don't have that shortfall, so that frees up some other dollars. So, we can reallocate among what the types of projects that are allowed under that program, so.
If we have a lot of people, let's say first quarter of next year, non-for-profits coming to us and showing they have a need, can we tweak that 200,000 and make it more if we do have some wiggle room? Do we have that option,
Yeah, we can-
depending on how many people apply?
Yeah, that's why I say we can amend the plan,
Good, okay.
especially because of what has transpired since that was passed.
How are we going to let the smallest
And-
nonprofits know?
And we talked about the ability to amend it even when we passed it.
They're going to let Little Leagues.
We can announce it at the council meeting and say, we want to hear from you.
I was just saying, we got to make sure we let the smallest nonprofits in our community know what's going on.
The foundation maintains a list of countywide not-for-profits that, the 100-plus men, 100-plus women use, and so there's a really good list that we can work from.
Good.
It's already done for us for the most part. Okay, if there's no further discussion or good of the order, I will happily entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Everybody have a good evening.